Welcome to the Digital Talk Show with Arwa. I'm Arwa, your host, and I'm a freelancer. And every week I bring on some amazing guests on my podcast who are killing it in the online world. We bring on guests who have started their journey as a beginner and are now making some big cash months through freelancing, blogging, or any other online sources. Hey everybody, welcome to the Digital Talk Show with Arwa. We have a lovely guest today with her 30 years of experience in entrepreneurship and 14 years of experience in the online service business. Dana specializes in helping online service providers to leverage their action ready plan and create the business of their dreams. So, welcome, Dana. It's a pleasure to have you on my podcast and tell us, our audience, about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am a mother of 5 and now a grandmother of 2. And I've been working online in different businesses and actually in the service-based business for over 14 years, going from everything from designing websites to search engine optimization, bookkeeping. I've pretty much done a little bit of everything.
That's amazing. So, how did you get started as a online service provider?
So my husband and I owned a computer store, a storefront back in the 90s. And back in the 90s, it actually changed over to a lot of things started to go online because people were able to start purchasing. And so I kind of took that idea and brought it forward and have developed it through the years and have changed it depending on what the market needs and what my strengths were. So I've gone from taking it and developing my strengths as the market changed.
Awesome. So, I know you teach how to become a VA. Can you talk more about the top services that are currently in trend that a VA can offer?
Virtual assistants can do almost anything. I've come up with a list of over 100 skills that a virtual assistant can have. And they're usually things that don't require certification. So it's really playing on your strengths. If, for example, I don't enjoy admin work at all. It's not something that I love, but a lot of people do. They like to organize people's schedules. They like to play around in calendars. An email inbox of 0 is some people's goals. And if that's your strength, go for it. I personally gravitate more towards the tech in the back end, enjoying working with the systems. And I see those as a map in my head of taking a client from one point in your marketing business or whatever type of business through their journey with you as their business partner.
Okay, awesome. So how can a VA create an irresistible offer so that they can present it to a client?
It's really playing on what your strengths are and finding out what they actually need. And by developing a program or an offer that is, okay, I'm going to say social media marketing, because a lot of people are going into that. If you can provide the copy, the graphics, the design, making sure everything fits with that client, they're going to end up paying more because it's going to be an entire package deal versus piecing and parting. And if you try not to do everything, then it actually adds to your reputation as an expert in that one thing. So, like I said, I design client experiences and I don't do the admin part. Can I do admin? Yeah, I could, but it's not something that I enjoy. So it's put me in a place where people don't ask me to do inbox 0. They don't ask me to do social media marketing. They ask me to design their client experience. So by taking your skills and narrowing it down into a specific skill set, it establishes your reputation.
Awesome, awesome. So, like, what do you prefer? If you would suggest someone who's just starting out, do you prefer them like having an hourly charge or a package-based pricing?
I always prefer package because you're showing the client the value, not you're not trading your time for money. I can also say that I started out hourly because that seemed to be the way that most virtual assistants would go. It's easier to say 10 hours for X number of dollars, but people don't realize that 10 hours can be used up very quickly. And that's usually the client thinks 10 hours. They're not thinking that that's only 30 minutes a day. So
Hmm.
instead of trading your time for money, you're trading your value for money, which puts you in a higher level and it puts you again more in that expert realm instead of how many hours can you work.
So, what I suggest my students is that they can do hourly as well. But when the client doesn't have a proper requirement or like is very wobbly with their requirement, because that will also be beneficial to the freelancer as well, because then it won't go out of scope. So, yeah, it has its own pros and cons. So, like, how,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. So how do you like manage multiple clients at a time as a VA?
I use right now, I've used ClickUp for the past 2 years to manage tasks and things like that. We are switching over to something simpler, just because I like simple, keep it simple. And you don't need to pay for a whole bunch of things. But I use dry erase boards and paper and pencil for a lot of my stuff, because I like to see and I can visualize in one spot, this is what I need to do, and this is who I'm working with. So I also time block if so that between this time to this time, I'm working on clients. I don't necessarily say I'm working on this client. I'll just say I'm working on client work, and I'll usually pick one task to get it done and focus.
Awesome. So what do you suggest to someone who's struggling to find clients as a new freelancer?
I suggest, and I'm one of these people that I do not like paid advertising at all. In 30 years, I don't think I've paid for advertising. So I usually suggest, and I started out on Upwork.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it because I could take it or leave it. And it also let me decide, okay, I really do not like this. Thank you very much. I've done this project. This is not what I want to do. So I suggest things like Upwork for people to get started. I didn't enjoy Fiverr as much. I did find that people were trying to really go, the $5 an hour, which no one needs to be doing. Um, but then what I did was I started going into Facebook groups where my ideal clients were, and I started adding value. I didn't promote. I didn't say, hey, I'm offering this. I definitely did not DM people. Um, but I would go and someone would ask for help and I would just say, hey, this is what I would do. This is what I would plan out. And people would be like, oh, well, that's really cool. And so then they would start to say, hey, you need to talk to Dana about this. Or they would start to tag me and post that they would say, Dana, have you seen this post? They could use your help. And it built a reputation. And I think a lot of people will sit there and they'll say, well, it's oversaturated and there's so many people doing the same thing. But if you start adding just a little bit of value without expecting something in return, then the returns will start to come in.
Absolutely. I feel that many freelancers have this mindset block that it is very saturated and they cannot find clients. But we just need to know that there's abundance of everything, and you'll eventually find your first client, and from there you can, find 10 other clients because they'll refer you, keep referring you.
Right.
Absolutely. So, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to a new VA who's just starting out?
I would tell you to trust yourself. A lot of people, they don't. And stop comparing yourself to other people, because there are VAs out there. There's millions of us probably, and everyone can be a VA. And it's just taking what you know and showing that it has value, because you have value. You're not selling just the service that you're offering. You're actually selling you're selling what you can do, what you are offering, all because someone else does social media marketing, all because someone else does inbox management. Doesn't mean that it's oversaturated or anything else. It means that instead, what benefit are they getting from working with you in particular? I mean, there's a lot of people that do what I do. But at the same time, you're working with me. You're not working with someone else. And so, you get me, and my experience, my knowledge, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. And you're bringing something special. So you really need to own that. And it's going to take a little bit, but stop looking at what other people are doing. I think that was honestly one of my biggest mistakes in getting started, was looking at what other people were doing and comparing myself to them and thinking I wasn't worthy because of X, because of whatever reason. But you are so worthy of making the money that I think most every virtual assistant deserves.
Absolutely. I think imposter syndrome is something that everybody suffers from. And it's just better to remind yourself that you're doing the best you can and try to give you 100%.
Right. And it's not just imposter syndrome at the beginning levels. I think that you also have to understand that no matter what level you're at, you're going to have some of it, and you're going to start comparing yourself to people on a different level. And you're still worthy. You're still awesome at what you do, no matter what other people think. And, even if you have, I think one of the best responses that I got when I started and I had major imposter syndrome. I mean, most people don't think someone with 30 years experience would ever have it. And I said I was afraid of failing and what they would think if, they gave me a bad review or something. And they said, are they really going to come to your house and say it? And if they did, what would you actually say? Would you let them stand there and say that to you? And I was like, no, I wouldn't let them say that to me at all, to my face. And they said, well, then don't think about it online. If they're a keyboard warrior, they're going to be. And you're just going to have to process it. You might need to take a day to process it, and then just let it go.
Yeah, I think letting go is something that we all need to learn in every aspect of our life, be it business or in personal life. That one quality everybody needs to learn.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for this podcast. And one last question would be like, what are the tools that you use in your day-to-day business that helps you keep operations going?
I'm a big fan of Google, the Google Workspace, my Google Calendar. If it's not on the calendar, personal or business, it doesn't exist, and it's probably not going to happen. I do use dry erase boards. I've been in this for 30 years. So digital planners, digital note taking isn't for me. So I have a lot of steno pads and a lot of pens. We're switching over from ClickUp to Trello. And I had actually originally started with Trello and moved up, but it's advanced and I actually want to go simpler. So I'm switching down so that I can have more simple views versus looking at everything, which can get confusing. What else do I use? I personally use Keep as an email marketing system. I'm a certified partner with it. It is one of the things that I build for people. Is it something I would necessarily tell everyone to jump in and get? No. But you need some sort of email marketing system in place to remind people who have reached out to you.
Awesome. So, like, if there is one piece of advice that you would give who's someone who feels stuck right now as a VA, so what would you give?
I'm big into affirmations. And I'm going to tell you to use them because if you're stuck, write down what's making you feel stuck and then put affirmations out that will kind of help you reach out to people that you admire. Believe it or not, we want to hear from you. We want you to reach out to us. It's like such a good feeling that we might be able to help you overcome just something simple. And it might just be one of those things that you have to say, and I have it up on my board that I'm totally worth. My current rate is around $250 to $475 an hour. And I actually have it written up there that I'm worth that because I started at $15 an hour.
Wow, that's
And so,
amazing.
yeah, so it's a huge difference. So I have to remind myself daily that I'm worth it. And yeah, reach out to people, watch some of the videos, listen to podcasts of people that you admire, people that are going to help you. I'm a big book reader, so I read those all the time.
That's amazing. Thank you so much again for doing this podcast. And you can tell us, our audience, where they can find you and connect with you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me today. My website is danasacco.co. And I have a virtual assistant mini course to kind of help you get started, which gives you that list of over 100 skills and gives you videos on step-by-step how to narrow it down and how to raise your rate. And that is at thevirtualassistantshop.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much again. It was an honor to do this interview with you. And yeah.
Thank you so much.